It's that time of year again where we get to talk about fear-mongering and diastasis recti. So apparently on Good Morning America this morning, they were commenting on Ashley Tisdale. I guess she was open on her social media about trying to address her diastasis recti. And if anybody wants to know what that is, it's basically the abdominals have to separate. 100% of women have it during pregnancy. Has to happen to make room for the baby. And now she was being very open about it. And so GMA brought on their OB consultant. I think her name is Dr. Ashton. And I'm going to read this from what's online because I don't want to get it wrong. A couple of things that she mentions. A majority of people who've developed diastasis recti may feel a vertical bulge in the center of their abdomen. No, that's called coning or doming, and that's not pathological. So first of all, abdominals can separate. Postpartum, because diastasis recti, there's a lot of different variables. Some of them is collagen, some of it's how you use your abdominals before pregnancy. Some of it may be kind of what you did during pregnancy, but that's just a fraction of it. Some people, things don't necessarily come back to the center, or the tension doesn't get kind of redeveloped. And if that tension of the linea alba, which is basically the space in between, if that tension isn't kind of recreated, then you might see a little bit of depth there, which is usually why you might see a little cone or a dome. It's not pathological. It's just pressure taking the path of least resistance. Usually when we see it is during something like a sit-up, or if you do overhead activities, or you're hanging, anything where you're asking those muscles to tension over a further distance. But again, diastasis recti doesn't necessarily equate to coning or doming. She goes on to say they might feel pain when they cough or lift something heavy. No, that has nothing to do with diastasis recti. If you have pain there, you need to get an umbilical hernia ruled out. That's important. Could you have severe diastasis and an umbilical hernia? Yes. Could you also have an umbilical hernia without having diastasis? Yes. Pain is not indicative of diastasis recti. It's just not one of the things that goes along with it. Okay? Moving on. I do like mom's getting real about what it's like postpartum, getting hit by a bus. I will agree with that. That I will agree with. That's fine. They talk about prevention is important. Okay, this is something that is really important because I get a lot of women that come into me while they're pregnant or before they get pregnant wanting to prevent all the bad things. Parenting 101 is the second you conceived is the second you start to lose control. Understanding that a lot of these things aren't necessarily things that can be prevented because again, abdominal separation has to happen. You don't want to prevent that. That's something that has to happen. But predicting whether or not you may have an issue, our science, our research just isn't there yet. We don't necessarily know why. Yes, if you have multiple pregnancies, that could potentially lead to it. If you have bigger babies, maybe yes, maybe no. Collagen factors, maybe yes, maybe no. I did not have one that there was no issues after my first. I did have more of an issue with one and creating tension after my second pregnancy. I don't have any collagen issues or hypermobility things that I know about. Pressure-wise, not necessarily any significant things. I also didn't go in hyper worried about it. I actually now, it's kind of a motor thing. Like I can manipulate it like a party trick. Like it's literally pressure management and getting my transverse abdominals going. And I use my real-time ultrasound. Like literally I use it to demonstrate to clients, this is what a true one is. This is how you manage it and how you go from there. Okay. So again, can't prevent, right? You can educate. Educate's very different. Educate so you can screen ahead of time, know when you need to get help sooner than later. Knowing what an umbilical hernia is and whether you need to get checked out for that. That's important. All right. My personal favorite was the ending here from Dr. Ashton. After pregnancy, the key is strengthening, but in a cat-cow kind of way. You do not want to do the classic sit-up, said Ashton. And if it's really bad, really bothersome, and persists, surgical treatment is always an option. Hello, hi. I'm a postpartum physical therapist and diastasis recti owner, and never once was surgery an option for me because I'm not broken. Okay, like the narrative that this person was speaking about. And again, I know nothing about Dr. Ashton. I don't know if she's in clinical practice. I don't know if she just goes on GMA all the time. Like, don't know anything about her. But what I do know is the advice that she's providing is literally out of the year 2000. It's probably the same thing that we were arguing back, I don't know, when the NPR article came out in summer of 2018. There was a private group that was pitching their exercise program and the evils of diastasis recti. It was August, it was summer. I think NPR online was having a slow month, honestly. The American Physical Therapy Association, along with the Academy of Pelvic Health, penned a rebuttal and penned an update to NPR. I may have been a part of that. NPR went on to post another article, did not necessarily interview all the researchers in that area, really just focused on the one that was very focused on the gap. So again, like if you do a quick Google search, it's ugly out there. But if we had to take all the ugliness and just kind of bring it down to everything that I have learned, not only as a diastasis owner, but literally at least once a week, a woman comes in, I'm here for diastasis, gateway diagnosis, because they're having leakage, but they won't come for that. But they don't like what their abs look like. If it's poochy, if it's mushy, that's not diastasis. So, I love talking about it because again, I get to be the Oprah of sit-ups and workouts, and it's just not that big of a deal. If you don't like what your belly looks like, fine, let's have a discussion about that. Let's not blame diastasis recti. If you have pain, don't blame diastasis recti. We need to get you a consult to make sure that you don't have an umbilical hernia. And that's kind of severe stuff, okay? Fear-mongering over exercises and sitting up. Please stop telling moms that cow is enough. It is not. If you have active children, large babies that get up in the middle of the night, you need to be able to get out of bed. Fact, okay? You're also not delicate. And what I will tell you from experience, because this is exactly where I sat when my youngest was 3 and I was doing exactly what I was told to do, which is just very little small mat exercises, because that's what we did back then for diastasis. Don't do this, don't do that. And guess what? I felt incredibly weak. Why? Because I wasn't actually doing anything because I thought I couldn't. Now what do? Whatever the hell I want. I lift, I bend, I overhead snatch, I do whatever. And guess what? I'm fine. I'm stronger. I monitor. I have the teeny tiny little umbilical hernia. It does not bother me. It is not symptomatic. It's like a little turkey timer. If my pressure pops out, it doesn't bother me when I run. It doesn't bother me when I lift because I'm not afraid of it. I can manage it. I know it is not dysfunctional, it is not damaging, it is just none of those things. So if you watched that this morning, first of all, I'm sorry. Second of all, probably just wasted about 7 minutes of your life, hopefully a little bit less, but hopefully this can kind of fix it, move on. If you have questions about diastasis recti, please hit me up in the DMs. Happy to talk about it anytime. If you want to see a video of me and my little party trick with diastasis recti, happy to do that too, because we shouldn't be afraid and we need to stop scaring our moms who are trying to do the best they can. All right? No fear. Have a good one.